Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be on this stage again. It's hard to see anybody because it's the light, but so many faces. Wonderful. So yeah, the future done right. I thought about this topic and wondered, okay, should we maybe start with looking back? So sometimes looking back, you see the past. It helps you basically see the future because in the past you might have expected something and it turned out differently. And it's really hard to predict the future. So looking back 30 years, we started this company with pretty naive ideas. 1996. So you remember the year maybe? Some of the Germans remember this one? Yes, absolutely. So yeah, Jürgen Klinsmann, celebrating. He didn't score the goal though. That was the European Championship, 1996. It was Oliver Biermann, and he scored, I think, the only golden goal in history to finish off a tournament. So yeah, that was great. And also in 1996, we started this little enterprise here. Two of my computer science professors, another kind of like doctoral student, and myself, a student, we basically got together and started CoreMedia. It doesn't say CoreMedia here because we were not that good at naming things. It was quite a name there, Higher Order Information and Communication Systems, GmbH. While we survived, these kind of like 30 years, when you look about the days, it's kind of like not even 11,000 days until today. And let's take a look at that, because those days were quite changing for society, I'd say, like a lot of innovation and disruptions. And please humor me when we look back a little to the last 30 years. So when we look at the chart here, those are the days. Every dot represents 10 days. This was after launch in April 1998. Any idea what was that? No, I think it was not easy to do. It was the launch of the CoreMedia, the CoreM publisher. That was actually the product that basically got us into content management. It was way ahead of its time. It was already at that point in time object-oriented content, like with kind of inheritance. It was a client-server system with kind of like Java-based and with a kind of object-oriented modeling of the content. And it was kind of like, when you think about it, way before CMS was a really big topic, we invented an omnichannel CMS, event-based for all the different touch points, together with the German press agency. So that was the beginning of it all when you look at our products. Well, shortly after, March 2000, I mean. Any idea what happened then? I think some know. It was painful. That was the peak of the dotcom bubble. It was the NASDAQ and the NEMAX and stuff. It was huge. And then it was at some point in time not so nice anymore, because really in March it peaked. And shortly after, in April, we closed our first financing round, Series A, with the famous Hamburg private bank, the Warburg Bank, and some of the other investors around it. So that was great timing. It was really shortly after the peak. Everyone expected to basically that the stock market will go up soon again. So we really got a good deal. I think 30 times revenue of the next fiscal year that we projected or something. That was really good. Unfortunately, we didn't got enough money for the whole transition to a product company. So the next one was in October 2000. Well, it should be 2001, because that was shortly after September 11th. 2001 was not a good year for investments, but we were going well. And we basically got T Ventures, the Deutsche Telekom, on board as an investor. So for us, kind of like this bubble bursting wasn't that bad. We were growing nicely and we were basically winning business. That was before this happened, before Facebook came up. So CoreMedia is a lot older than Facebook. So the whole web was at that point in time just, big companies, media companies publishing some content and people reading. Now it became the read-write web. We had their own page. People were suddenly online. And it was until 2004, when you think about it, it took a long time for that to become a big thing. Then in October 2004, they had this conference, the Web 2.0. That was the idea, right? Rebranding the web, because suddenly that idea of the interactive web, the programmable web, was something that was, it needed a name. I wasn't at that conference. I was a little bit later. But in June 2007, another big thing happened. I think all of you know what happened. The iPhone was launched, right? Also mind-blowing, right? Because we were working on mobile internet with WAP and WML and stuff, all this kind of, and it was all crap. Nothing worked, right? And then this happened, and suddenly the mobile internet worked like a charm, and we never looked back. But it took quite some time for the mobile internet to be basically a thing. So then after that, October 2007, anyone? No, this one is hard. I went to a tech conference, the Web 2.0 Summit in San Francisco, and I met my future wife. So that was such a disruptive event. I was a bachelor, and suddenly I basically was married, 4 children. I moved to the US. It really kind of scrambled my life. It was very disruptive. It changed everything. So great event, though. It was fun to do that. In October 2014, we basically realized in between, we did some other stuff, but that content and commerce, transactional data and content is a problem. That all these transactional systems, they really suck at content. And it's still today, when we look at kind of like all the content at all the shopping platforms, like Salesforce and the like, it's not really good when you look at the customer experience. So at that point in time, we brought these sides together, like content and commerce, and really made it seamless to do that. So that was a good choice, and became more the norm. March 2015, another thing happened that I think looking back should have made us more alarmed in a way. AlphaGo, that was the development, Google DeepMind. They had the first time that they had an AI system beat a Go player, the famous Go player, Lee Sedol. And it was a shock because everyone thought, oh, Go is too complicated. That wasn't even the interesting thing. 1.5 years later, the same team launched AlphaZero. AlphaZero was an AI that just played itself without any briefing from people. Here's the rules, play yourself. And within 1 day, it was better than the other system, AlphaGo, and it was superhuman. And it couldn't just play Go, it could play any game against itself, learn the rules, and figure it out, and be superhuman. So I gave a talk that later on I said, hey, this is kind of like strange. We have now a system that becomes superhuman within a day, as long as it can play itself. But longer term, we will have more and more stuff where the AI can simulate the outcome and play itself. So that was kind of like an early kind of like hint that there's something coming that will be huge. Yeah, so they kind of like took a little longer, but at some point in time, September, another dimension was content, right? TikTok, suddenly realizing, content and data, using the feedback cycle, they learn so quickly within like 23 minutes. They learn about us, what triggers us, what we like. We didn't know we like. We like this little kitten video or the dance and stuff. And it changed society. Like the speed of them learning about us also is something frightening, but it's the new reality we live in. Yeah, and then back to the AI part. June 27, the Google team, the DeepMind team, they published this paper, Attention is All You Need. So what they basically figured out is using these large language models, you could basically just look at the prior words, connect them with these kind of graphs and say, now let's predict the next word. And just by having that ability to massive attention to all the and training data, you kind of like are able to create what we now know as a large language model. That was Google, the same team as DeepMind, and they published that, right? So that really led to something. November 2022, ChatGPT came out. Not by Google, so they dropped the ball a little bit, but by OpenAI. And as you can see, the beginning of this was not like from everybody all embraced, like love you of the ambition and the thesis, but given the current text, I'd say your worst product concept so far. Well, that was maybe not the right take, because from that moment on, I saw it early on Twitter, like all the craze, people realized how fun it is to talk to ChatGPT. Still at the early moment, stupid, right? It was not able to really pass the Turing test, but it was kind of mind-blowing that you could kind of like, have a system that understands written text. So from that on, things evolved. Well, we kind of like made a move to bring content and data together and acquired Buy-Side, integrated it. It's great. And we launched our own AI, KIO, in February 2024. Oh, no, that was the experience platform integrating. And then at the end of the year, in November 24, we launched KIO and integrated AI into our platform. So far, so good. From then on, we see quite a few steps, right? One big one was Claude Code, that they added to the large language model, a coding assistant. So really kind of like what we discussed last year, that was something that really turned out to be a massive game changer. At the end of the year, like December, it became clear that now coding is actually superhuman. We discussed it last year as well, right? Like this exponential graph that at some point in time, there's superhuman capabilities. Now coding, reached that point. That was December 2025, where you saw kind of like here, Andre Karpathy talking about, hey, I changed my coding suddenly. This vibe coding thing becomes the norm and not the exception. So shortly after that, March 26, not that long ago, we saw another big step saying. Although there was like before that, that was him, Andre Karpathy, using AI to change itself and do research, to really close the loop and say, hey, let's let it do trials. And within a night, the system was able to optimize itself by something from kind of like down to, I think, 25% improvement. It's okay. So he figured out when you have a system and you basically give it an optimization and it can basically evaluate that, you can let it run. You can let it basically do auto research. That concept, though, will be something that I would say in the future we will see in many places. As soon as you can evaluate the result objectively with a formula, you can use AI to automate that. A little bit back to the example that we saw earlier with AlphaGo and AlphaZero. If you simulate something or you can test it, you can automate the feedback loop. So that will be something that I think we will see in the future. And then April 2026, Claude Mythos came out. It's not really out. We don't have it. I'm not sure if someone here has access to this. Maybe the German army, no? Not yet, right? Because it's kind of mind-blowing that there's a system now that is used by more and more companies. And what they report is, it finds a lot of security issues because now security and hacking is also superhuman. So this will kind of be a topic for the rest of the year. As soon as this is kind of like in more hands, I hope that we get our hands early on, hopefully with our partners and customers here, it will basically be a game changer. Because there will be a lot of cleanup, a lot of security that we basically have to address. Yeah. And today, Connect 2026. So a lot has happened, right? And my perception is there's some kind of, faster and faster acceleration. So when we look back, like someone told me earlier, last year's kind of like Connect, that doesn't feel like a year ago. It feels like, it wasn't that, feels like much longer because so much happened in the world. And my prediction would be the next year might feel similar. There's a lot of things that are happening. So there's much more to come. So one prediction I would make is, I made that before, we will realize that we will prefer to interact with AI in quite a few situations. Like living in San Francisco in the past, I could say I preferred the Waymo experience to the Uber experience. And when AI really works, it's nice, right? So basically, I would expect us to realize, AI that works is something that is potentially even preferred by people. They will opt in to say, no, I don't want the guy coming with the car. I want the AI driving me. The second thing is, I think when we start experience all these security issues, right? You get all the spam and all these things, and it gets better and better at kind of like triggering you, and you don't know, is it real or not? We will lose trust in the normal channels. And my prediction would be, but we will get these agents, right? We will get this Siri and stuff, and we will start trusting these things to figure it out if we can trust the email that comes in. So I would think we will start having trusted relationships with our kind of personal assistants, the digital butler on our phone. the next cereal, whatever it is, because we start to rely on them to basically figure out what is kind of safe and what is not. Yeah, and then this discussion we had with the auto research, that concept you can use in a lot of different places, like campaigns, source, like code, performance. We will see self-optimizing models in many, many kind of areas. So kind of like also for CoreMedia, for example, we introduce here the native personalization and native kind of optimization. The self-optimization topic will be one that we see coming and that we're working on. Yeah, so we have quite a few things we tackled together with you and for you. And really, from our perspective, it's good to basically get into the weeds and to work together. Like really look at real examples, because that's when you kind of start to understand deeper what should we basically, how can we help the situation best? So my invitation to our customers and partners is let's do that. Let's kind of like closely collaborate there. And to share a little bit with you kind of like our own strategy when it comes to AI and the future, it's really this topic of agentic capabilities, but with the human touch, bringing these two things together. So like empowering people to basically, get rid of some steps of their work, some tasks, but enrich the job itself, basically make you more powerful. So you still have to kind of like, make campaigns, but the AI can help you with a lot of the work there and make you more powerful to basically achieve more results. So one topic is indeed the AI-first digital experience. We expect AI to be used in many more situations for framing, kind of like understanding target audiences, framing the message, and creating all these experiences. And one question that came up earlier today was, okay, where do I need the DXP in the future when everything can be vibe coded? And the truth is, a lot can be vibe coded, but one thing we believe will be critical, you want to be in control. So enterprises, like if everything is basically something fluid, how can you kind of maintain control? Even consistency. Like the example last year was NS, right? Like the railway. They want to be able to change information that is then in every touch point clearly used in the next second. And when you think about now the ability to vibe code all these things, and many people are here and there, how is the organization able to make sure that, no, this is the right information, it has to go out now, and it's out now to everybody? So I think the ability to have more channels and more touch points and more AI consuming information will lead to pressure to have more control over, hey, what is the information that is true, the single source of truth, and that we rely on, and the ability to change it. To now it has to be changed because for whatever legal reasons or something changed. So these two things, right, being in control and being able to change everything and having the governance on top will not go away. And that's kind of like a big topic where we see, how can we help you with that? How can we help our customers to have that control? Topics like trusted governance and digital sovereignty is a topic that for some of you is really burning. Like, can I control the data? Who gets the information that I put in there to train something else? So that is a topic that we see as very relevant, that we provide that ability to, give you the control. We talked this morning with our partners about our process to move to AI-first software development lifecycle. So really using AI to really be much faster in development, using AI for security to scan things. So like really embracing that as well for our own kind of capabilities. That will reach you as well, because the stuff that we do there, the meta information for the code, the decisions, that will also be used when you use AI to program against CoreMedia. So it's a topic that will reach you as well. Yeah, then what I mentioned earlier, I think I strongly believe in this collaboration between people with agents, but not one person with one agent, but more like a team with multiple agents. And that's an interesting topic because it's really organizational, a new chance now to say, hey, how do we orchestrate that we have this collective learning, for example, that I can see what you do with your agent because it helps me to understand what we want to achieve. So this transparency potentially over whole teams or whole companies. Hey, what has been discussed here and how do we solve that problem? That will be an interesting aspect. So really collaboration between multiple agents, multiple people for a joint goal. Yeah, and then I mentioned this system of record. It's not just the data, right? It's also one level up, the intelligence on top of that. How basically now when you have all the data, how can you basically make that available for other processes and even for decision making? So yeah, a lot to do that we're working on. There's one more dimension. It's also changing the way interfaces for software are designed. One thing will be, software doesn't have an interface. You just have an API, and other systems basically use the API, take the information out and do something with it. So like this agentic topic, like MCP and the like. But the other one is also, user interface will become more like AI at the center and then show you the interface that you need to do something. So instead of on the left having kind of like, AI as a little add-on to the existing interface, we see AI in the center and then creating the interfaces that you need on the fly. So it's really kind of like a bigger change there in how interfaces work. Yeah, I have to speed up a little. It touches everything, right? We don't see it just on the development side, we see it in operations. We also see it on the customer side, on the customer or consumer behavior side. So it's really the experience, operations, and development. In all those places, AI will drive changes. And we see different patterns. We see integrate, like take AI and put it in there in your existing process and make it a little better. We see innovate to say, can we do new things that were not possible without AI? So those things we look at. But then the even biggest one longer term is disrupt. Look at this. Hey, can we get rid of all of that and do it very differently? Like an example would be, like I saw in China, like you have a car insurance, they have a car crash. You just take a phone, walk around the car, take a video, and that's it. And 90 seconds later, you have the money on your bank account that they basically settle the damage. So no kind of like long process, but hey, it's really going to the max, right? Taking the ability to disrupt existing patterns. Well, there's stuff that AI is not good for. And here's I think the best example was like predicted a while ago. Let me see.
Hitting module.
It's gone.
What do you mean gone?
For some reason, Guilfoyle deleted the whole thing a few minutes ago.
What?
Yeah.
Guilfoyle?
Yes, Richard, I'm aware. The drone dispatching code has been deleted, and I'm working very hard to restore the right version.
Whoa. Drone code? Gabe just told me that the ticketing module got deleted.
Ticketing too? Fuck, that's problematic. I'll get on that next.
What the fuck is going on?
Based on the amount of work left to do and the number of hours left before the festival, I decided to task Son of Anton to use machine learning to debug some of our code.
What? Are you fucking kidding me? You gave your AI permission to overwrite code in the internal file system? Or are you gonna tell me about this?
No. I thought that was the company policy these days.
Okay, well, your AI just failed epically.
That's unclear. It's possible that Son of Anton decided that the most efficient way to get rid of all the bugs was to get rid of all the software, which is technically and statistically correct. But artificial neural nets are sort of a black box, so we'll never know for sure.
So the funny thing is, like a few weeks ago, there is this company using Cursor to basically develop all their stuff, and the production database was deleted by Cursor. Like, just like that. Like, so it is not like they are so good at nailing the future, because we are right now at the moment where some of these things happen, right? Like you have OpenClaw, giving OpenClaw all access to all things. Crazy stuff is happening, like because we kind of like try these things out. So good judgment. While these systems are amazing, and I wrote yesterday that I think OpenAI published something about solving a math kind of like question that was open for many years and was famous. So they basically now do math kind of like solving problems that people couldn't. So great technology, but good judgment is something. It's like really, I had this experience often. You tell it something to do and then that answer seems wrong. You tell, no, that must be wrong. No, it's right, it's right. And then after a while, yeah, you're right. There was completely bullshit. Like, and then, I'm sorry. Like, hey, like, what is wrong with you? So it's like an intern, right? The intern can do things, and it's not even good as an intern. An intern is smart enough to say, I don't read the production database. But this thing is super smart, but also super stupid. Accountability. Try to tell people, yeah, the AI did it. It's not the best excuse, when you call your customers that everything is down. Yeah, the AI was it. It wasn't me. Accountability is something, it doesn't work, right? Then taste. It's not that AI really has shown that the best taste. You might have noticed that AI, sometimes it's generating average, right? Because it's predicting the most likely work. You can work hard to get it away from there with kind of like context, but the average is what comes out first. And brand ownership. I'm not sure brands want to, let the AI run their kind of like most valuable asset. So a lot of slop these days, when you look at LinkedIn, a lot of the stuff is not written by anybody, and it shows. You feel it, right? It's like, I don't want to read this anymore. So quite a few things where you can make a huge difference by, using AI just as a tool, because that's what it is. It's not kind of like in the species. It's an AI tool. You can use it to make your life better. It's still real people that make the difference. So I don't think that we will see AI coming up with the next startups. It will be people having an idea and creating that. Also, AI won't be the ones on average to basically come up with the next great movies. So it will be people making a difference, but people using AI, because it's such a powerful tool that you kind of like would be stupid to ignore. So we need AI with a human touch. And if that all makes you feel stressed, because there's so much AI going on, you have the feeling, oh, we're behind, everyone else is kind of like so far ahead. And I can give you kind of like some data that you are likely ahead of the wave. So here's the data. From the 9 billion people on Earth, these are the ones who never used AI, like 3.2 million per dot. These are the ones who use the free chatbot. These are the ones who pay $20 a month for it. And this one dot here, those are the ones who use AI with coding and scaffolding and basically get to one-shot implementations. So it's really kind of like so far a tiny minority that does that. Problem is, they create so much kind of demand for AI right now that kind of like globally there's no memories left, no memory chips left. And so because that will kind of like change a little bit the structure of your P&L. Suddenly AI spend goes up to $1 million per person per month in some of these companies. So it's kind of like very different, right? However, if you're not there yet, yeah, that's an area you want to take a look at that we will see. And if you're close to it, if you are in the ones that have some color, you're pretty good so far, I think. Don't feel bad. Yeah, and with that, I like to, open the floor for celebrating real cases, real people, and real impact. Thank you, everybody.